Manuel Göttsching emerged as a solo artist from the krautrock scene, where he had been fronting Asherah Temple and after that Asherah. He has released 7 solo studio albums and he's best known for E2-E4, which was an influential electronic music album. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album E2-E4 by Manuel Göttsching, or Manuel, I don't know what pronunciation is preferred. And it was released in 1984, and it was his second solo album, and it is regarded as being a very influential album. I have a copy, and digging back in my archives, I found that I've actually reviewed this before. Well, let's do this history and as quickly as I can. Before I was reviewing on YouTube, I had a blog and was reviewing there. Before that, I did reviews on Facebook of prog rock stuff. And as a result of that, I put together a vanity project of this book that I created. It's not been published. It's a PDF, but I added some more reviews to that to broaden it out. And this was one of the albums that broadened that out. It's not prog, but it's on the edges in some ways. So back then, I gave it a 4 out of 10. Quite a few years have passed since that. And actually, I've given it a much higher mark on this occasion. So just, be aware that when I do re-review, I do actually properly re-review. So, um, also, an interesting thing, I think this is the first album on the channel where I will be using the same track for getting a clip of music at the start of the video as at the end of the video. And the reason for that is there is only one track here. It's one track and it's an hour long, pretty much. And I would describe this as being trance electronic, is minimalist to the extreme, in the sense of minimalist music, which isn't that there's nothing happening. Minimalist doesn't mean that really empty stuff that Brian Eno did with his ambient things, music for airports and stuff like that. It means the changes are minimal and it doesn't keep doing different things. It's very repetitive, but it changes subtly and over time. So apparently this was all recorded in one go using 1984. You could do this sort of thing now with loops. The looping technology has got very sophisticated, but I think it was mostly done with not with recorded loops, digital things like that, but with sequencing. I don't actually know. I'm just guessing, knowing some of the technology that was around. So it's, as I said, it's influential. It's presenting this long form fancy electronic that's got this minimal thing of slow changes. So I listened to albums twice to do a review, and if you'll excuse me, I'll tell you the circumstances that I was in. So the first listen, I listened to it in the bath. That was quite a long bath. The second one, it was over 3 car journeys that I listened to it. So the one in the bath was a day where I felt like I was doing too much and doing too much thinking and wanted to force myself to slow down. So I thought to myself, I'll have a good long bath and I'll not do anything else. I'll just listen to some music. And I did. And it was really effective in actually achieving that, in slowing me down. I was trying to spot the changes in it. And there's actually lots of really subtle stuff going on in here. Changes, but the major change is where halfway through, roughly fairly close to halfway through, electric guitar starts doing what I have once been known as a vague pentatonic. Try that again. Vague pentatonic noodling, which is a way of soloing on the guitar. The guitar tone is Mark Knopfler style. It's very pleasant, and that plays, quite a bit of varied stuff as it goes through. But as I've said already, there's lots of little subtle changes going on, tweaking patterns, pushing the mix, twiddling synth knobs very slowly. It's instrumental, there's no vocals, I should have said that. And it's got 2 chords, and they're actually related chords. They're over the same bottom, and it's kind of like bottom with this and then bottom with slightly up. And it just does those 2 very large number of repetitions. I was tempted to try and work out how many, but then I didn't. So strangely, for a more ambient track, I felt like I got more out of it when I focused on it more. When I listened in the car, it became more background, and it felt a bit relentless and therefore slightly irritating. And I think that's how I'd responded badly to this album when I reviewed it previously. I have this growing theory. I have many theories going on in my life that if you have something that is background listening, it has to have enough changes in it that it doesn't trigger an effect in your brain, or certainly for me, an effect in my brain where my brain starts to go, that thing in the background hasn't stopped and it keeps going. It's the same trigger that if you get a car alarm going off, after the first 10 minutes, it really starts to grate because it's just going on and on. And I think that strangely, as I've just said, focusing more on it makes it a better album or a better listen. So I get that it's a historic album that is hugely influential. I've tried to not let that influence me too much in my response to it. And as I've said, I think that um, it worked better for me when I focused more on it. So I think it's more of a potentially it's an album that might be good for meditation in that sense. This is, of course, just my opinion. You might have a very different opinion to me on this album. And I'd love to hear from you if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, any reminiscences or factoids you want to share about the album. Please do talk to me. I'd love to hear from you. But that's it from me for now.